Hong Kong Chief Executive John Lee marks 1 year in office today. It's been an eventful year, buoyed by the long-awaited border reopening with China. Now, all eyes were on how the career cop could steer the battered economy back on track. And 1 year on, has the Lee administration met its targets? Deborah Wong reports.
416票。
Hong Kong leader John Lee was a shoo-in from the get-go in an uncontested election, after electoral reforms ensured only patriots could run for government. He was Beijing's choice for the top job, a role that carried high expectations following the tumultuous years of social unrest and COVID-19 restrictions.
面前5年是香港有积极性的关键时刻，特区政府会务实有为，迎难而上。 以结果为目标，解决社会问题。
7 months into his new role, Hong Kong resumed quarantine-free travel with the world and the mainland, giving the city a much-needed consumption boost. It's raised confidence, with GDP projected to grow between 3.5 to 5.5%. Mr. Lee's popularity ratings soared to a 59% high then. The attention then turned to manpower. It's a resource that Hong Kong urgently needs to sharpen its competitive edge.
John Lee, when he took office last year, he listed out a couple of key priorities, and part of it is ramping up manpower, especially with the whole talent pass scheme. And we've seen that exceed expectations. You know, we've seen, I think, 49,000 instead of the 35,000 that was initially intended. But at the same time, nearly 95% of the applications are from mainland China. What does it say about Hong Kong's appeal as an international city?
On the demand side, we need a lot of them because Hong Kong needs to be better integrated with the Greater Bay Area and the overall Chinese economic development. But in the long run, I think with a more vibrant economic development in Hong Kong, I think there will be non-Chinese expats coming eventually. They need time to understand the situation, and they need more than a few months to know whether Hong Kong is going to be their future home.
Navigating the geopolitical space has also been tricky for the US sanctioned leader, amid smoldering tensions between US and China. So he's had to step up foreign diplomacy.
I think he has been trying to do a little bit more of economic autonomy, economic diplomacy, while on the other hand, trying to integrate Hong Kong with the Greater Bay Area, relying on mainland's strong economic and tourist support. So his strategy, economically speaking, is to reach out to foreign countries as far as possible while relying on China's economic support by integrating into the Greater Bay Area.
He's hit some targets, but the road ahead remains challenging. Now, Mr. Lee had inherited a divided Hong Kong, an effect of the 2019 social unrest. He's vowed to enact Article 23, the city's own security law, latest by next year, to plug the gaps in the Beijing-imposed national security law. Now, Beijing had made it clear that it was a matter of priority to ensure stability in Hong Kong.
Mr. Lee also acknowledged that bread-and-butter issues like land and housing provision remain a daunting task, following years of conflicting views from interest groups.
At the end of the day, we need to make decisions because indecision is the worst outcome.
But that's led to a diminishing number of public consultations, a departure from standard practice.
A lot of people felt that nothing has been done for a long period of time, particularly about the economy. So given that we have been on the other side of the balance for so long, I am actually quite excited to see that now there are more actions than more public consultation. And let's see what happened to the economy before we get back to the discussion about having more consensus across the wide spectrum of the society.
Political observers have told me that Mr. Lee's administration seems to have a stronger resolve in getting things done, perhaps an effect of closer ties with the mainland. So how things will play out in the court of public opinion takes a back seat, at least for now. Deborah Wong, CNA, Hong Kong.